My wife asked for the divorce on Valentine's Day. She thought she was being poetic, a symbolic end to a symbolic marriage. She even brought chocolates, the expensive kind from the boutique downtown. "I want a divorce, Kenneth," she said, handing me the box. "Happy Valentine's Day." I opened the chocolates, selected a truffle, ate it slowly. "Okay." She blinked. "That's it? Just okay? What would you prefer? Crying? Begging?" Angela looked confused. She'd expected drama, a negotiation, something she could use later to paint me as unstable or controlling. Instead, she got calm acceptance. "I've already spoken to an attorney," she continued, recovering. "Half of everything, the house, the investments, your retirement, that's fair." "I'm sure your attorney thinks so." "I also want the Tesla. You can keep the old truck." "Fine." Her confidence wavered slightly. I wasn't reacting the way she'd planned. "Kenneth, are you even listening?" "I'm listening carefully. You want half of everything. The house, the investments, the retirement accounts, the Tesla." "Yes." I finished the chocolate, closed the box. "Angela, do you know what separate property means?" She paused. "Property that's separate? It's a legal term. It refers to assets acquired before marriage, or through inheritance, or kept in individual accounts that were never commingled with marital funds." Her eyes narrowed. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you're asking for half of everything, and half of everything is considerably less than you think." "What does that mean?" I stood up, headed toward my office. "It means you should ask your attorney to review my pre-marital asset documentation before the hearing. It might affect your strategy." I closed the door behind me. Let her wonder. Angela and I had been married for 8 years. She thought she understood our finances. We lived in a $1.2 million house. We drove nice cars. We took vacations to Europe every summer. She assumed all of this had been built during our marriage. Shared efforts, marital property. She was wrong. The affair started 14 months before that Valentine's Day. His name was Derek Morrison, a real estate agent who'd shown us properties before we bought our current house. Derek was smooth, tanned, confident, the kind of man who never questioned whether he deserved what he wanted. I discovered them through the oldest method possible. A receipt, a hotel charge on a credit card. Angela thought I never checked. I didn't confront her, there was no point. Instead, I did what I do best. I analyzed the situation. Angela had married me when I was 32, already established in my career as a property developer. She'd been a yoga instructor. We met at a studio downtown, started dating, married within a year. But she never asked detailed questions about my business. She saw the lifestyle, not the spreadsheets. She didn't know that I'd purchased my first rental property at 24 before we ever met. She didn't know about the commercial building I'd inherited from my father, an asset specifically excluded from marital property in his will. She didn't know about the investment accounts I'd opened at 28, funded entirely with pre-marital earnings, kept completely separate from our joint accounts. In 8 years of marriage, she'd never asked to see the books. Now she wanted half. But half of what exactly? Our marital property, the assets accumulated together, was modest. The joint savings account, some furniture, a shared investment fund worth about $180,000. Everything else, separate, documented, protected. Let me be specific about the numbers. Before I met Angela, I owned 3 rental properties. Small buildings, nothing flashy, purchased with money I'd saved working construction while getting my real estate license. Total value at that time, approximately $340,000. I also had a brokerage account containing $120,000 in index funds, accumulated since I was 22. And there was my father's property, a small commercial building downtown that he'd left me when he passed. Not worth much when I inherited it, but in a location that had steadily appreciated. Current value, approximately $800,000. All of this existed before Angela entered my life. During our marriage, I'd continued investing. But I'd done it carefully, keeping pre-marital assets separate, never co-mingling, never adding Angela's name to accounts that predated her. It wasn't that I didn't trust her. I just understood how property law worked. When she asked for half of everything, she was imagining a total estate worth $2.5 or $3 million. She was imagining $1.2 or $1.5 million as her share. In reality, the marital property, the things we'd actually built together, was worth approximately $400,000. Her half would be $200,000. The separate property, my pre-marital investments, my inheritance, my carefully protected assets, totaled approximately $1.8 million. She'd get nothing from that. I didn't feel guilty about this. I'd spent 15 years building a foundation before Angela arrived. I wasn't going to let 14 months of her affair erase that. The hearing was scheduled for April. Angela's attorney had requested full financial disclosure, which I provided, all of it. Every account, every property, every document showing date of acquisition and source of funds. Her attorney reviewed it for 2 weeks. Then he called my attorney. There's been a misunderstanding. Mrs. Harper was unaware of the separate property classifications. There's no misunderstanding. The documentation is complete. She's requesting a revised settlement proposal. She can request whatever she wants, the law is clear. Meanwhile, I documented the affair. Derek Morrison wasn't just Angela's lover. He was also the real estate agent who'd originally sold me my father's commercial building back when I was trying to convert it to retail space. Small world or small town. Either way, Derek had violated a professional relationship when he started sleeping with my wife. The real estate board took a dim view of agents engaging with clients' spouses. I filed a complaint the same day Angela's attorney reviewed the financials. Not revenge, just accountability. The hearing date arrived. Angela walked in, confident, still believing her attorney could negotiate a better outcome. She sat across from me in the conference room, flanked by her lawyer. She avoided my eyes. Let's proceed, the mediator said. We're here to discuss the division of assets. My attorney laid out the documentation, property by property, account by account, each one with dates, sources, and legal classification, separate, separate, separate. Angela's face changed as she realized. Her attorney tried to fight. Your Honor, the maintenance of these properties during the marriage, Mrs. Harper contributed indirectly through household management, and the properties were managed by professional property management companies, my attorney interrupted, paid from proceeds of those same properties. Mrs. Harper's contribution was minimal. The appreciation during the marriage should be considered. The appreciation is a function of market forces and my client's investment decisions. Mrs. Harper had no involvement in management, renovation, or strategic planning. The mediator reviewed the documentation. Angela sat rigidly, her earlier confidence completely gone. Mr. Harper, the mediator said, can you confirm that these accounts were never commingled with marital funds? I can. Every transaction is documented. The accounts have remained completely separate since before my marriage. And the inheritance? My father's will specifically designated the commercial property as my separate property, not to be included in any future marital estate. The documentation is on page 47. Angela's attorney leaned over, whispered to her. She shook her head angrily. Your Honor, her attorney said, my client requests a brief recess. Granted, 15 minutes. They left the room. I stayed seated, calm. When they returned, Angela's eyes were red. She'd been crying. We're prepared to accept an equitable division of documented marital property, her attorney said, and waive claims to assets classified as separate. That's acceptable, my attorney replied. We'll also be seeking acknowledgement of the adultery, which affects spousal support considerations. Angela flinched. We have documentation of Mrs. Harper's relationship with Derek Morrison, my attorney continued, placing a folder on the table. Hotel receipts, text messages, calendar entries. The relationship began 14 months ago. Her attorney reviewed the folder. His expression soured. Given the documented adultery, the mediator said, spousal support will be minimal, if any. The court does not look favorably on rewarding infidelity. Angela finally spoke. This isn't fair. I gave you 8 years. You gave me 7 years and 2 months, I said quietly. The last 14 months you gave to Derek. Silence. The settlement was finalized within an hour. Angela received her half of the marital property, approximately $200,000. She kept the Tesla. She kept her personal items. She received no portion of the separate property, no share of the rental income, no piece of the commercial building my father had left me. She'd expected $1.5 million. She got $200,000. As she left the room, she stopped at the door. "I never knew you were so calculated." "I wasn't calculated. I was prepared." She walked out. I never saw her again. The divorce was finalized in May. Angela moved to another city. I heard she's working for a fitness company there. I hope she's happy. I genuinely do. Derek Morrison faced a disciplinary hearing from the real estate board. He didn't lose his license, but he received a formal reprimand. His reputation suffered. The last I heard, he and Angela weren't together anymore. The relationship didn't survive the financial disappointment. I sold the house we'd shared. Too many memories of pretending. I bought a smaller place, a renovated loft in one of my own buildings. I'd designed the renovation myself, back when it was just an investment property. Now it's home. My father's commercial building is doing well. The retail space is fully leased. I visit sometimes, walk through the lobby, remember him teaching me about property when I was a teenager. "Never give away what you built," he used to say. "Not to banks, not to partners, not to anyone who didn't help you build it." I didn't understand that advice when I was young. I understand it now. Some evenings I sit on my balcony with a whiskey. I watch the city lights and think about what Angela expected versus what she received. She thought marriage entitled her to wealth I'd accumulated before we met. The law disagreed. I'm not bitter about what happened. Affairs end marriages every day. People drift apart. It's not remarkable. What's remarkable is how little she knew about the life we shared. 8 years, and she never once asked about the properties, the investments, the inheritance. She saw the lifestyle, never the work behind it. That's not tragedy. That's just negligence.